What up, YouTube? Hey, pardon me for that. I'm new to this, as you guys know. I actually have some experience. Let me correct that. I actually have a little bit of experience with regards to YouTube channels, but it was a while back, and I wasn't committed to it. There was some things in my personal life that I needed to get better at, some character building that I needed to work on. So I posted a few videos several years back, and because I was offering information about different topics that I kind of felt like I just needed to improve on myself personally, I discontinued the channel, but I'm back again. So you guys, I ask that you pardon me for any lapses in the way I may be focusing in on the camera, the lighting, the need for better equipment, what have you, sound, posting, whatever. If there's anything that's not up to the high quality standard that I expect and demand of myself, and that you guys expect and demand of the YouTube channels that you guys view, pardon me for that. I'm back. I will get better, and I appreciate you guys' understanding on that. I am Minister Cepeda. Pardon me. I always start my videos by referring you guys to my website. There's my bio is there, and I do that each and every video, specifically to give the man upstairs his credit, give him his just due, and I encourage you guys to go there and check out the bio, be inspired by it, know that it's real. This thing that we call God is alive and well. It's most commonly referred to as God, but whatever name you're comfortable referring to it as, then so be it. But it's alive, it's well. And if you're committed to being the best person that you can be, you're committed to doing what you need to do in order to achieve that highest level that you have for yourself internally and not just externally, but both, then it's a beautiful story, and this ultimate power will assist you in that. And you wouldn't have that urge in you. You wouldn't be amongst the minority of people who really are committed to being a well-rounded person. So it's a holistic ministry that I provide. The website is treeoflifeoutreach.com. Go there, read the bio, be inspired, be encouraged. Pass that information on to anyone that you know that may be going through a trying time, who maybe it's not looking all that encouraging for them. Maybe it's bleak and they don't know, or they don't understand why things are happening or how they're going to make it through. Share that information to them so that they can be encouraged. And if whether or not the information is for you, it rubs some people the wrong way, and I'm okay with that. Again, it's not for everybody. I understand if it's not for you, but whether it's for you or not, you can be inspired, hopefully, by the story, and hopefully you would be willing to pass that information on to someone else so they too can be inspired. Again, it's a holistic ministry that I provide, so it's my goal, it's my intention to provide you guys with nourishment for your mind, your body, and your spirit. Those things they work in unison to create the whole and the complete you. So this is what I try to do, and as I always say, and which has been both scientifically and philosophically proven, is that if one of those things go out of balance, or a couple of those things go out of balance, then you fall out of balance as a human being, particularly as an individual who's committed to being the best person that you can be, not just in your finances, not just in your relationships and your business and your family lives, but all the different avenues and the different paths that we travel in life. So be encouraged to visit the website, check out the services that consist of philosophical consultations, youth and young adult mentoring and counseling, as well as ISSA certified fitness training and inspirational and motivational speaking. Now, what I'm going to do today is talk about the physical fitness arm of the ministry, and I'm going to lay out for you guys my general thoughts and perceptions, philosophies, as well as the background where I come from and how I got into physical fitness, and my competitive history, the record there, and things of that nature. So be encouraged to also know, guys, that at some point I will be providing you guys with actual workout footage, actual workout videos that you guys can come and see me performing as I work out, see the techniques, the specific strategies that I use while actually being applied under a for real workout that I'm doing to myself. Right now, the camera that I have to do that is I don't know how to operate it, so I ask that you guys will pardon me in that regards. But I am looking to get up to speed. I'm looking for my son, one of my children, my son, my second eldest son, who is committed to getting me that information. I should have it here in just a bit. Not too long of a time frame, and I ask that you guys bear with me and ask that you guys actually look forward to that. I love training. I am soon to be 54 years of age here in a few months. I picked up my first set of dumbbells at the age of 10, and prior to that, as I transitioned into giving you guys some information on myself so that you guys can better understand how my journey has been with regards to fitness itself, and then you guys can judge for yourself. So again, I picked up my first set of dumbbells when I was 10 years old, and that was after having, we all started in the hood, and physical fitness and all these different sports activities, you name it, we were required to do, and we loved them all, from swimming to basketball to football to baseball to boxing, you name it, and to wrestling. And we did these contact sports from day one, as long as I could remember, probably at the age of 5, I think maybe I was putting on my first set of gloves, 5 or 6 or 7, and was really boxing on a regular basis, all during the summer months, really swimming all during the summer months. So we'd box in the morning, we'd swim in the afternoon, and then sometimes we go home. Chess was a big part of it too, even at that early age. We go home and relax by playing a game of chess and eat dinner, and then, or it was structured a little bit different. Maybe we boxed all of this week, and then we played football the next week, or we had a football game in the afternoon, and then we had swimming in the evening. So I've been into physical fitness and physical activities from day one. Having said that, I always remind everyone that I don't have the answers. I truly do not have the answers. I'm continuing to grow. I'm continuing to learn. I'm continuing to explore different possibilities, different strategies and techniques with my own routine, studying others, watching their videos, and doing things of this nature, so that as the time evolves, so do I with regards to my philosophies, my strategies and tactics. Having said that, some of this stuff, guys, is just it's infinite. It's infinite in terms of it'll always be relevant, and it'll always work. So 2 + 2 is going to be 4, just like it'll be 4, in an infinite amount of time from now, in infinity. So some things are universal, and that's basically what I focus on, the tried and true exercises and routine that has worked for those who have came before me and those who came before them. And yes, I've modified it over the years as the information has come along, but some of it, 2 + 2 is 4. You can't modify that. So that's the quick intro into the amount of experience that I have, to give you guys a little bit more insight to so that you guys can see that this is not a guy that's just talking this. This is not a guy who's just getting into this. My competitive history is right there on the website, treeoflifeoutreach.com. Go there, read the bio, and then click on services offered. And then once you click on the services offered, you'll read about the philosophical consultations, the youth mentoring, the ISSA certified fitness training, and then you'll read about the inspirational and motivational speaking that I do. And then at the very bottom of that page, you can click on the link that'll take you to the fitness, actual physical fitness arm of the ministry that falls under the umbrella of the ministry itself. So that's mountfitnessmbs.com. If you guys just want to go directly there, you can, but I encourage you guys to read the bio and read that page. Maybe you're interested in some services, maybe you know someone else who's interested in some services, or what have you. But it's very informative, and it gives him the glory that he deserves. I could never give him the glory. I could never speak enough. I could never talk enough. I could never testify enough with regards to what he's done for me. And that's why every single video I start in the same way. So if you're a subscriber, you have to pardon the time if it's not comfortable for you. The time that I spend towards referring you guys to the website over and over again, you have to pardon that. But quite honestly, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not embarrassed by it, and I don't apologize for it. So, and that's said with all due respect. Getting back to my competitive history, which again is on file, you can pull up a couple of shows that I did, several shows that I've done. There's quite a few shows that I've done that's not on there, both before I had the website established and after I've had the website established. But it gives you a good rundown of how well I placed, what organizations I competed in, the time I did my first show. All the organizations that I competed in are all natural. So you do the polygraph test and you do the urine analysis, and it's the real deal with regards to all natural physical fitness training, all natural bodybuilding, and I'm definitely here to support and promote the all natural lifestyle. So I have qualified for professional, what they call pro cards, in several different all natural organizations. The INBF, the IN. They got so many initials, guys. The INPA, International Professional Bodybuilders Association. So international, the INPBA, the WNBF, and I've competed professionally on stage. So that information is on stage. How well I did, how well I placed, that information is there. And it's been almost about 6 years, I think, since I've been on stage. I'm looking to possibly get on stage this summer. I had some sponsors that are no more. And so, by the way, if you guys want to offer some sponsorship, you can. If you want to just give me a word of encouragement, you can. But that's what I do. I love loving others, and anytime I make somebody feel good, it makes me feel good. I love making others feel good. So if you're one of those people, and you're moved or inspired, or just want to send me an encouraging text, you can. But either way, I'm looking to do some bodybuilding shoots this summer. We'll see. I stay in close to my competition weight year round, so I don't really have to get in shape. I just modify a few things, and I'm ready in just a few short weeks. So be encouraged to go there, so that you guys can. You guys can witness that for yourself. The organization's all natural, and just to this is not me being braggadocious. It's just me making a humble attempt to earn cachet with you guys. So that's when I started. Those are the organizations that I've competed in, and now let's briefly get into my overall philosophy on fitness training. And again, this will be a crash course, guys. I won't display or put forth any specific details. I'm just going to lay out the umbrella for you guys. And then if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you could leave me a comment here on YouTube. Always subscribe and like the video or dislike the video, so long as you're being honest about it. I'm okay with that. I'm not for everybody. Everybody's not for me, whether it's me talking about the ozone layer or whether I'm talking about fitness training or anything in between. My views are not for everybody, and vice versa. So I'm okay if you dislike the video. Just be honest, and just don't be somebody who is being dishonest, but what they call nowadays a player hater or whatnot, which I really don't like that term, hater. Because you can just disagree with somebody and they'll say you hate. Their favorite ice cream is chocolate, and you say, well, yours is strawberry, and oh man, you hating on chocolate ice cream, you hating. So it's kind of ridiculous. So I really don't like that term, but I think I use it appropriately just for the sake of making a reference point. I think when it comes to my philosophy, guys, and this has worked for me over the years, and when you go to my my website and then you click on the fitness arm of the website, you're going to see right then and there. Even though I was this guy who was always who was initially from the youngest age brought up into physical fitness, praying, meditating, eating clean, and all these different things, played all the sports, I too went astray. So I didn't just go astray with regards to breaking, man's laws and all that stuff is on the website. I didn't just go astray in that regard. It's like I went astray in all regards. I began to neglect my prayer. I neglected clean eating. I neglected being a humble, tolerant person. I just basically became overwhelmed by a sense of entitlement and a sense of arrogance, and that led me down a path that only he could have been in control of all along. I embraced my past, as painful as it was, as challenging as it was. I embrace it because it's only because of that path that I'm here today, and I can provide you guys with high quality information that's relevant in all these different areas. In my opinion, it's certainly relevant. Obviously, all of it's not going to be relevant for you. Some of it that I consider to be high class and others consider to be high class, top quality information. That may not be your view, and again, I'm okay with that. To each his own. Seriously, that's not just something that I say. So, having done all that and having been born and raised into fitness and coming up fit, and by the way, I excelled at all of those different sports, every last one. However, when it came to boxing, and this is how I picked up my first set of dumbbells at 10. When it came to boxing, I was in one fight where I got beat up pretty bad. I won the fight, but I took a beating, and you can imagine a mom, seeing her 9-10-year-old kid taking the kind of punishment that I went, and it was only, I think we were fighting 4 rounds, maybe 5 rounds at that time. Nowadays, the little kids that age are just fighting 3. So we were fighting 5 rounds, and I took a beating. I won the fight, but even with the headgear, I was bruised and battered, and I was sore. So my mom decided, because even though I was excelling at those sports, my 2 older brothers were doing better than I was. So they won their fights without having to take such a beating. And my mom decided that boxing wasn't for me. Peace and blessings be upon her. God rest her soul. And she decided that, well, we're going to pull Cepeda out of boxing, and we're going to, because of her schedule and my dad's schedule, peace and blessings be upon him as well. God rest his soul. Because of their schedules, we couldn't have a babysitter, or sometimes we couldn't afford a babysitter. So when we went to boxing lessons, I could hit the pads and I can do the drills, but I couldn't have any more contact when it came to the boxing. So when the training would move into that phase where they began sparring and things of that nature, I was prohibited from doing that. So what I would do, I would go over and play with the weights, just toying around playing with the weights. And that's how I picked up my first set of weights. And by the time I was 13, and you read my bio, this is all in between the ups and downs that I was experiencing, because at around that same age was the time that I began to go astray. I was always complimented. I was always told that I'm going to be special, that I'm unique, I'm tough, I'm smart, I'm all these things, and without even being mindful of it, I became arrogant, and I became what we call, I had a feeling of entitlement. Like when I walk in, yes, I'm the best and everyone should bow down to me, and that kind of led me off astray. So even at that early age of 10, even though I was continuing to perform in the different sports outside of boxing, I still boxed a little bit, but it was kind of sneaky, and I could spar my brothers at the house, but up until the age of about 13, and from 10 to 13, I was basically lifting weights and having mishaps in societies and coming back and getting engaged in sports for a few months here and there, and then having another mishap in society. So, but by the age of 13, I was serious with weightlifting, and I really, really enjoyed it. And so from that point on, weightlifting has been a part of my life, and I still incorporated all the different stuff, the running and things of that nature. So then, just to kind of cut to the chase again, the bio's there, and again, all of this stuff is overlapping some missteps and some challenges and failures that I was going through societally, out in society. So finally, at the age of about, I think I was 17, maybe 18, 1984 was the year that I did my first show. It may have been 1984. I did my first show. So I was 17 years of age, and I won the show. Very first bodybuilding show. I won it. So if I can digress for a moment to kind of set the stage for that, and to bring you guys up to speed with regards to my philosophy and kind of dovetail all this stuff together. One day at the age of about 13, maybe 14, and weight training was serious for me, and I was committed to it. I really enjoyed it, and I was doing my research game with regards to nutrition and meditation, and all that stuff was still kind of on point, but I had become something that was outside of the way that I was raised. Even though I was raised in the hood, we were raised, we went to church all the time. We was raised to respect your elders. You didn't use foul language and all those things. And so even though that stuff was still implemented in my life to some degree, and I was going back and forth to different incarceration phases, even at that tender age, I still was practicing those things. And so at about the age of 13 or 14, I began to notice, like, the bigger guys, because by then, like, I would do my weight training outside of the boxing gym, and I would notice when I went to the actual gym that I was always blown away by the big guys that came in there. The huge guys were strong, they were powerful, they were sharp and focused, and just massive, throwing around an unimaginable amount of weight. And I was always moved by those guys. And so I was over there doing whatever, 10, 15, 20 pound dumbbells that I could do, doing my squats with whatever weights I could go on, as heavy as possible, because those guys were inspiring me. And one day, just out of the clear blue sky, I like to think that I've always been an observant person, always aware of my surroundings, always paying attention to how the different situations and scenarios around me are taking place. And each and every time that one of those huge guys came in and threw around a lot of weight, before they left, I began to notice, this wouldn't happen all the time, but this is how I began to perceive it. Like, once they left, or while they were working out or whatever, there came in an even bigger guy, or a guy who was at least the same size, who was even stronger. Every single time I began to notice this, and I began to learn their names and ask questions and get information, which, by the way, my mom and dad was also into physical fitness. So we were also training at the house, doing push-ups, doing sit-up drills, you name it. So I was getting information from my mom and dad, who, again, by the way, their mom and dad was into physical fitness training and this and that and that and this. I remember some of the little exercise equipment that my mom and dad used to use, but I'll stay on point here. So between me getting all that information at the house and then going to the gym and get more information from the bigger and stronger guys who was in there, because my mom and dad was basically into fitness, period. The running, the jogging, the jump rope, the boxing for cardio, and not so much as specifically weights. So They lift weights, but they weren't these big, huge guys or these big, huge girls. Even back then, they had some girls that were incredible with regards to how big they were. So I would go and accumulate information. I got to know all of them, all of these guys and girls' names, and I began to know, okay, well, and again, I'm still viewing this from a point like the biggest and the strongest guy is the best. So, well, that's who inspired me the most. So I knew their name. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's number 5 on the list. You know, he's number 9 on the list. He's number 2. Wow, that's the strongest guy that comes in here. He moves me the most. And then all of a sudden, it was like, I don't know, like it was divine. All of a sudden, this guy moved to the area. No one knew him. Of course, over a period of time, we all got to know him. But guy just showed up and started going to the gym. And boom, the first thing I noticed was when this guy walked into the gym, all heads turned. Every single head in the gym turned. This guy, you know, Frank Zane is my favorite and greatest all-time bodybuilder. This guy was Frank Zane, number 1 competitor. This guy would have pushed Frank Zane to the limit. This guy would not, Frank Zane would have to be on his A game to beat this guy. And even then, it still would have been a pickle. This is how uniquely shaped and crafted this guy was. Or if you know Frank Zane, and I'm giving this guy, who by the way, name's Bob Abner. I haven't seen Bob in a few years. When I go to visit my hometown, I haven't stopped by to see him because usually I'm there for a few weeks, business, workshops, and things of that nature. And I'm back out of the city, so I haven't seen Bob in quite a few years. But this guy is the one who began to really, really impart to me a philosophy and a concept that I embraced, and then of course over the years began to expand and adjust and maneuver. So this tells you how this guy looked if I'm comparing him to Frank Zane, for those of you who are familiar with Frank Zane. If not, you guys can go take a look. He's my all-time favorite bodybuilder. And when not only did the heads turn, this guy would come in, and by comparison to those guys, he lift some of the lightest weights. When it came to the amount of heavy weights that he used, these guys were light years ahead of him. I mean, this guy was not lifting heavy weights by comparison, not even a little bit. So in other words, just to give you a random example, if they were doing 475, 500, 405 on the bench, he might have been doing like 225. He might have been doing 25. If they were doing 600-pound deadlifts, he might have been doing half that. This guy stayed right all year round. And so eventually, that became the guy that I talked to. I started putting down the heavy weights, and I started being very observant of how he was training, what he was doing, and he and I actually developed a real good rapport, a real good friendship, and he's the one who encouraged me to do my very first show. So I would get information from him about nutrition, and his nutrition, just like his training, was outside of the box. It wasn't like everybody else's. His eating habits weren't like everybody. Nothing about this guy was like everybody else. Not the way he walked, not the way he trained, not the way he ate, none of that. So this guy kind of took me under his wing, and he's actually the guy that gave me the posing, showed me how to pose and all of this stuff. So big shout out to Bob Abner. If you're anywhere listening, or if there's anybody that know this guy, big shouts out to Bob Abner. And the next time I go down that way, I'm gonna see if I can get in contact with him. I keep saying that I'm gonna look up him and some of my boxing coaches and things of that nature. But unfortunately, man, I haven't, and there's no excuse for that. So the next time I go down that way, I'm going to do that. And by the way, that was I think I said my hometown. That was in Peoria, Illinois. My hometown is East St. Louis, Illinois. So moving right along with how I began to shape and develop my own strategies and techniques and philosophies, as well as to continue to touch on my experience a bit. Not only did Bob train with the lighter weights, much lighter weights, his intensity was off the chain. His intensity was off the chain. The duration of the time that he trained, off the chain. I'd get there once I had known him. I'd get there. How long you been there? He'd been there for 2 hours. I had a limit to where I could train for maybe like 30 or 45 minutes at that particular time. Sometimes an hour, but typically 30 or 45 minutes. And so I would try to match his intensity. He'd been there for 2 hours. When I left, he was there when I got there. He was there when I left. As I continued to grow older and continue to having those slip-ups and mishaps in society, whenever I would return, Bob was still in the gym, and so I was a little bit older, a little bit stronger, and so I was able to keep up with him a lot more. So I began to work on intensity. Light weights with intensity. And I'm going to try to be as short-winded as I can on this, because another aspect of what Bob taught me and imparted to me was at that particular moment, Bob was using heavy weights. He would use heavy weights maybe once, basically about 4 or 5 times out of a year. And I think he gave me this specific number, and I think it may have been not even 5 times. It may have been 4 times. And Bob was in his 30s then. He was in his mid-30s. And he's polishing me and grooming me, and we're going over nutrition, how he ate, his concept on how to manipulate your body, whether it's the water, whether it's the sodium, whether it's using fried foods, whether it's using sugar, protein. This guy was giving me the whole rundown. And again, this guy that's sitting here before you, this knowledge, this quest and this desire that I have for information and knowledge has always been with me. This is why if you read the bio, you can see how I practice and research so many different religions. Why I think outside the box, why some of my topics some people may not even be familiar with. I've always been moved by information, particularly high quality information and information that's relevant. So this guy saw that in me, and when I would get out from my stints of incarceration, he would still be training. I'd be a little bit older. I'd be a little bit stronger. So I would try to keep up him in terms of intensity and in terms of duration. Also, what Bob did was he trained with enormous amount of frequency. So this concept, this philosophy that I'm saying that Bob used, this is the philosophy that I'm speaking to you guys today that I actually utilize. I've changed it. I've modified it. I've made my own tweaks over the years based on my own experiences. But that's the template of it. That's at the apex of it. What he taught me with regards to nutrition, what he taught me with regards to training, resting, and you name it. So he would only lift weights, I think he said maybe 4 times. He would only lift heavy weights only 4 times each year. You heard me. 4 times each year. So basically when the season changed, he would take 1 week to lift heavy weights, and and then again, what I'm saying to him, what I'm saying to you that he did, that's what I do with, again, my own modification. So what he would do is take 1 week where he would go from his light weights and he'd gradually move up on all his different body parts for a week. Excuse me. And then he would reach that point to where, okay, he's gotten his body, taking a week to kind of prime his body for the heavyweight. And then he would mass heavyweights for that week. And then that was it until another 4 months, another 3 months. So I began to do the exact same thing, and we could talk about the importance of why and things of that nature. But just in a can, the heavyweights guys, now don't get me wrong, I'm going to preference my statement by saying the heavyweights, hey, I got some guys that will blow your doors off on stage. They'll blow your doors off on the beach. They'll blow your doors off during the off season. And all they lift is heavyweights. So I'm not shunning that. I'm not shunning that. I'm presenting to you guys my philosophy, my concept, and what works for me. The guys that typically lift those heavyweights, they typically, somewhere down the line, develop injuries, tightness, stiffness, soreness in their joints, in their ligaments, in their tendons. Now, most of the big guys that you see in there, you don't see that in the gym. You don't see that when they're walking around being sore. But when they get home, when they first get out of bed, you know, when they're leaving the gym, and unfortunately a lot of them won't admit to this. And some of them will be honest and they'll say, yeah, but that's the price they're willing to pay. So to each his own. But that's the information that was given to me, and that's been the path that I've trodden over all these years. By the way, I basically became a personal trainer at the age of 16. I did my first show at 17. I did 4 shows that year. I won 3, and I came in second in one of them. I came in third in one of my adult shows. But I did 4 shows that year, and I was really, really doing good in bodybuilding. I committed to becoming a bodybuilder. I was researching all the bodybuilders and things of that nature. But again, within that same year was the year that I had my first incarceration as an adult. That was the first time I went to penitentiary as an adult. So again, career was dismantled and derailed. Again, read the bio. I'm just going to touch on these bases. So then there was 15, 20 years where I did no training at all. I wasn't praying anymore. I wasn't doing any meditation no more. But not to get into that, but just kind of set the table with where I'm going next with regard to my concept and philosophies on training. There was roughly 20 years where I wasn't doing no kind of training at all, wasn't being true to myself, my inner self, nothing. Was 100% going astray, and was about 65 pounds overweight. There's a photo online, and this now was roughly about 65 pounds overweight. Now, the strange thing about it was, even though I was messing up, going back and forth to prison, and stressing from all these other different, or being what I consider to be polished and groomed and punished for my misgivings, I continued to train. I became a certified trainer at the age of, I think I worked at the Cutting Edge. No, I worked at I can't even call the name of the place right now. But the first place I got my personal training job, you didn't even have to have certification then. You just walk in. If you could do a couple basic exercises and deport yourself well to the owner of the gym, you could have that position. So that's how long I've been instructing others. But while I was doing that, I was continuing to put on more and more weight. You know, I was continuing to live a wild and unhealthy lifestyle, but I continued my training. And people loved the motivation that they got from me. I was able to compartmentalize, if you will, the dirt that I was doing in life and in the streets. And when it came to my clients, they never saw that. They saw a guy who was always inspirational, a guy who was always motivational, a guy who was well-rounded in knowledge, and particularly the knowledge as it applied to fitness training. So I'm not that guy. I think I hinted at this a few moments ago. I'm not that guy that even though I was brought up into all of this, I've always had to maintain it. No, I've been on the other end of the pendulum. So I know what that feels like as well. So you're not just looking at some guy who can't relate to what you may be going through if you're overweight, if you have lost your drive, you've lost your focus and your desire. I've been there. So I wanted to give that out again as a word of encouragement. And then I want to keep right along moving, kind of stay on point with this particular topic. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, my contact information up there. You can text message me. You can email me. If you email me, please do so at realdeal, MUNOZ, @gmail.com. realdealmunoz@gmail.com. I'm not sure. Sometimes my sons, they put different email addresses on my contact information because a lot of that email sometimes has something to do with them, as they do personal training now as well. But in any event, shoot me an email or simply shoot me a text. That contact information is up there as well. So I was about to speak on, I did the 4 show, so the career was derailed. 20 years off the show. My brother, Jonathan Mount Pickett. Again, go to the website, read the bio. This is the guy that inspired me, moved me, and motivated me, and imparted the love and the nourishment and the wisdom, the understanding, the encouragement, all these different things to me, where I began to start back training again. So, and then my comeback history is on the website, so you can go there and see how did he did in his first show, how he did in the second show, or whatnot. Again, there's the shows that I did prior to that is not up there, and some of the shows that I did post that is not up there. The website itself, I can afford to have it addressed, but also because it's just an arm of the ministry, I haven't really prioritized it. And if you guys go to the umbrella ministry, which is treeoflifeoutreach.com, if there's any words that are out of alignment, miscontextualized, or what have you, I ask that you guys pardon me for that, because I really need to get up to speed. My daughter was actually helping me with that, and she's taken on a new position in her career, so she hasn't been able to do so as often as she and I would both like to. So I need to get back there and straighten it up, because I'm always adjusting to different stuff. It's like I said, I'm growing, I'm evolving in the services and the critiques and the curriculum that I offer, particularly for the youth mentoring. It varies, it changes, and I need to do a better job of making those changes on the website. So that's basically my philosophy of training. That's how I got it, and that's a quick rundown on my experience and how long I've actually been doing this, what I've had to endure with regards to this particular field. Because even though I had Bob mentoring me and guiding me, I did make some changes with regards to, particularly with the nutrition. Like, I've kind of fell into the trap that most people are in with regards to eating 5 and 6 meals a day and trying to shoot for this amount of protein. And I kind of fell into that trap because it was agey, it was new wave, it's what everybody was doing. So I fell into that trap. And if you go to the website, thetreeoflifeoutreach.com, and scroll through and then hit the link to the fitness arm of the ministry, or if you just go straight to the Mount Fitness MBS, which is the fitness arm of the ministry, if you just go to there and then click on nutrition, you'll see that I have the basic inside the box training concepts and philosophies and technique. It's the basic inside the box nutrition and things of that nature. And any client doing their initial consultation and evaluation, I let them know that right off the bat. Hey, listen, this is what works. It works, don't get me wrong, but it's not what I do. I don't follow these concepts. I do different concepts. And as you know, most people are just more comfortable doing what most people do. So a lot of them, I do their meal plans, I do the workout routines based on that that inside the box approach. Train this muscle part, eat these kinds of foods, work, train 3 to 5 days a week, what have you, when I actually train about 7 days a week. If I miss a day here and there, you can write it down on your calendar. Because I train 7 days a week. That's what's worked for me. That's what's worked for all these clients over the years who wanted to try something new, because my motto is, if you want to look like everybody else, then train like everybody else. You got pictures of what my placings and placements are up there, and I like to think that I do an excellent job, and my clients think so as well. So again, it doesn't work for all. I eat one meal a day, and I train 7 days a week. I think I put it in another video. There's one day a week where I will typically eat all my calories within a standard daily fast, which is about 6 hours. I will typically do that once every 10, 14 days, and then I follow that day up with a day where I don't eat anything. So however 10, 14, sometimes as long as a month, it's just one meal a day, and I'm familiar with my body. I know when I need to eat more, and during that day when I eat more, I'll eat specifically, and I'll eat specific foods, high calorie foods. I manipulate all the different things that we know affects the body from a caloric standpoint. Fats, my calories, my carbs, my protein. I manipulate all that. So I like to eat specific foods and really load those calories for about a 6, maybe an 8 hour window, and then the next day I just don't eat anything, and then after that I'm back to my once a day routine. So that's what works for me. That's what works for a few of my clients who like to do things a little bit different, shake things up. Some of them have done the OMAD diet, which is only 1 meal a day. Some of them have done that for a couple weeks, like the results, but still like the normality of eating with their families and having a little bit more freedom with things like that. And some of them have been doing it, I think brother, who is it? Maybe it's. I got a client. I'm going to say Brother Brian, but I'm not sure that who it is. If it's not Brian, it would have to be Brother Keith. But one of those guys have been doing it for at least a year or longer, or longer than a year. So in any event, this is both work. It's just a matter of what you're going to decide which path you want to follow. You want to follow eating 5 or 6 meals a day. I'll do your meal plan in accordance with that. Click on the testimonials also on the fitness arm of the website. Click on the website, click on the testimonials, and hear what my clients have to say about my diets. A lot of that stuff is just mythological creatures. You don't have to eat 5 and 7 times a day. You don't have to hit this certain amount of protein. You don't have to eat certain foods that you don't like. Just listen to some of the results my clients get from me doing a meal plan that's basically surrounded around what they like to eat, and then I manipulate some of the things that they don't like to eat. I manipulate that into the schedule, and I'm very careful about manipulating it to where it's on their menu at times in which it's edible for them, so they can make sure they are eating enough of certain food that the human body just needs, but they're able to achieve the weight loss goals, the strength goals, or whatnot by basically eating what it is they really enjoy to eat, and not having to make any ridiculous changes like the magazines and YouTube and all this different stuff would tell you have to. So I think that's the gist of it. You guys look forward to me making the training videos, being a bit more specific with regards to how you build your arm, your legs, how you build your body. I typically use basic bodybuilding strategies, techniques, and exercises. But my plan, my strategies, my philosophy, and the way I manipulate that and sequence the exercises and the routine, it's all very different. If you want to be like everybody else, If you want to look like everybody else, then lift like everybody else. You want to have a bit of an edge, you got to go outside the box. You got to benefit from some of these secrets. As I always say, the secrets is not in the book. If it was, it wouldn't be a secret. The real secrets to this, just like the real secret to anything, is passed down. It's passed down typically from generation to generation, from mouth to mouth. And hey, this is sacred information. This is going to give you an advantage on your competition. This is going to give you insight that can help you in ways that the other guys don't have. So you keep it secret, and when it's your time to pass it on, you're very selective about who you pass it on to. So that's kind of the gist of it. Again, look forward to me providing videos where when I learn how to operate my camera, I can show you guys the exercises. Perhaps if that takes me a while to get up to speed on how to operate it, or for my son to actually show me, then you guys can look forward to me putting forth videos just discussing my actual number one exercise for your legs, your back, arms, shoulders, whatever, thighs, you name it, calves, for each body part. So I may do a video where I talk about it, but I am moving forward to getting the actual video where I'm actually performing the exercises. So I think that may be the kind of crash course on what I wanted to say to you guys about this. So just so you know, and remember, there's no such thing as overtraining. There's no such thing, again, a mythological creature, to borrow the words from my guy C.T. Fletcher. It's a mythological it's a mythological creature to overtrain. You can't overtrain. It's impossible. Slaves worked from sun up to sundown. Black slaves, white slaves, and yes, there was white slaves as well. Maybe not during the same time period as the black slaves, but white slaves, you name it, worked from sun up to sundown 7 days a week. Sun up to sundown 7 days a week. There's no such thing as overtraining. There is a such thing as undereating and undersleeping. If you're undereating and you're if you're undereating or you're oversleeping, which is when recovery takes place, then you can't overtrain very easily. So frequency, training more regularly than the next guy, intensity, keeping your intensity up. This guy's lifting 500 pounds on the bench. You're lifting 180. He lift 500 pounds, maybe say he do 5 reps, 500 pounds. He does that once every 5 or 7 minutes. You're lifting 185 pounds, 20 reps, every 60 seconds, every 90 seconds. Who's really lifting the most weights here? Right. So don't be afraid to get in there. And again, just to talk about my specific reference, my particular preference and philosophy, get that frequency up, go in there more often, be careful about how you're manipulating and monitoring your calories. Frequency, the intensity, boom, boom, take short breaks, get the reps up, intensity, boom, boom, boom. You're always over there. You're not taking very long breaks. You're doing a bit more higher reps. You're training more often. You're training more frequency with more frequency and the intensity. So that's the gist of it, guys. Get in there, get her done. I have to use the restroom real bad, so I'm gonna end this video. Hey, I don't know all of you guys, but I do love all of you guys, and always remember, if you're feeling bad, go out and make someone else feel good, and you'll feel better. Hit the like and subscribe, guys, and holla back. Peace.